wow, in both Matthew chapter 11 and Luke 7, the Lord just made me aware of something that I've never ever thought of. Maybe you've heard something like this before, but I never have heard anybody say anything like this. I mean, and the Lord just sort of dropped it on me while I was reading here. Check this out. John, who was the one who baptized Christ and said, like, forbid it to be so. You know, you should be baptizing me, I shouldn't be baptizing you, and the one of whose shoes I am not worthy to unloose. And then he says, behold, the Lamb of God, which taketh away the sin of the world. And not long afterward, after Jesus' public ministry began, John was put in prison. This is what I just realized. Well, he says, art thou he that should come, or do we look for another? He proclaimed him as the Lamb of God. Wouldn't you think John the Baptist, the guy who was ordained from before the foundation of the earth, but who was proclaimed by the prophets, would know? Absolutely. But no, he wasn't. He was flesh, too. He was a man, like we are. John the Baptist was able to be influenced in the other direction, too. So while he sat in prison and probably thought, I don't remember reading this in the prophets, that I was going to get put in prison. You know, people were working on him, I'm sure, saying things, prison guards, whoever, I don't know. I mean, obviously he had contact with other folks when he sent two of his disciples while he was in the prison, and I'm wondering if some of those folks even passed along notions of wondering whether or not this is the way it was meant to be. And John got discouraged. Because look what Jesus ends off with his saying with in both passages. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. So is John starting to get offended by the notion of this one who he proclaimed as the Christ? By the evil demon notions that were being passed along by others, more than likely? See, he said the same thing in Luke 7. I can't find it right now. Right here, verse 23. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. So he wanted a little assurance. And so Jesus gave it to him by healing folks and then saying to the disciples, go and show John again those things which ye do hear and see. I just thought that was just amazing because, really, why would the guy who proclaimed him as Christ ask, art thou he that should come, or look we for another? See, John didn't know his end was what his end was going to be. And that's why I also believe that, in both passages also, after Jesus said that thing about being offended, that he turned to the people and said, what went ye out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken with the wind? But what went ye out for to see? It's like, all you folks that don't believe, don't you understand? And Jesus knew who didn't understand and all that, but he rebukes the folks and says, he began to speak unto the people. And then what we're getting into is Jesus starts to reprove the cities for not believing.